I was upstairs in our home. We didn't have air conditioning, nothing like that. And it was a very hot night. And one of those nights where the air is still, there's no breeze. So I couldn't sleep, so I went downstairs and I went out in the backyard, and I was sitting where my parents sit in their little chairs, their little lawn chairs, and I was sitting there. And I heard a little sound, a quiet sound. You ever hear a quiet sound? Yeah. They move you. So I heard this, and I seen this this dark thing up in the air. It was triangular, but it was long, very long, like so. So I stood there, I watched it, and it just stopped. So I looked, and I seen this light come on, just like in like special effects, these little windows, they open up. And I could see inside, and I seen people walk. And 3 people walked to each window, and they were at the window and they were looking at me. So I ran inside my house, and I woke up my wife, and I asked her, I said, hey, you got to come out here. You have to look at, there's something out here. I want you to see this. So she come out, and when we got out there, it was gone. But it was light enough to where I could see it down south of about a mile down south. It's sitting in the sky. Because there was no clouds out, there's just stars. And I said, it's over here, there it is over there. But she couldn't see it, so I just said, well, I'm sorry for waking you up. And she went to bed. But I walked to the alley. And I stood there and I was watching it, and all of a sudden it dawned on me that I'm seeing and experiencing something that I just read about or I hear about from somebody else. And my legs, they started to get weak. I started losing my strength in my legs, and so I turned around and I tried to run to the house. And I remember just touching the door. And I was just instantaneously, I was in this room. And the first thing I noticed is that this room was lit up like this. It was white, but there was no lights. There was no lights in there. I couldn't see any lights, but the room was lit up. There was a man right here sitting up against the wall. And the wall, there was like one piece coming out, and he was sitting there, and he had his hands like this on something. And there was lights. And there was another man over here. They didn't pay attention to me. They were just sitting there watching those lights, and they were doing something with their hands. So I turned, and this man come, dressed in white, and he was tall. About as tall as this fan, this eagle fan. And he had white robe, long. He had long black hair. And he looked like, everyday white guy. So, and I didn't say, hello, who are you? Nothing like that. I said, hey, how does this work? So he told me, he said, he started telling me, and while he was telling me, in my mind, I was thinking, oh, this is so simple. Anybody could do this. Anybody could do this. It's so simple. And I remembered everything, but that part was blocked after the experience was over. But he did tell me, he said, we utilize the law of light. We travel by the law of light and also by the law of thought. In the future, you need to learn this law for your survival. So then he took me around this corner. I knew it was a round like corridor, like, and that's all I remembered at that time. So, but I kept that. And at that time, everybody that talked about UFOs anything was ridiculed and ostracized and thrown out of town or run out of town, you know. So I kept my silence for a long time. So when this other experience came about, then all this other things that I lost track of when I grew up with watching lights and that come into the room. There was so much that happened in the past when I was growing up. It started coming back. All the memories, they started coming back.
For more information on the next Star Knowledge Conference, call Alan at 818-661-7437 or go to StarKnowledgeConference.com.